Hello, I'm Senator Gene Yaw, and welcome to a conversation with Senator Gene Yaw. Today, we are in Union County at the Pik Rite facility. Since 1986, Pik Rite has introduced companies around the globe to their award-winning, client-inspired harvesting, spreading, waste handling, and truck body equipment. Stay tuned for an exciting behind-the-scenes look at this local business operating right here in Union County. I'm with Elvin Stoltfus, the president of Pik Rite. And Elvin, your facility here has always fascinated me, so I'd just like to ask you how you got started in this business. What triggered this? What's your background?
Well, I grew up on a family farm. My dad grew tomatoes, and we hand-picked them. We had a crew come in from Mexico. And I'm from a large family, there's 19 of us. So we loaded the tomatoes, took them in, and then in 1982, a friend of mine and myself decided to build a harvester. And we got ideas from other harvesters being built and put something together we felt would be applicable for this area, and built one for the farm. And then in 1986, we sold the first couple harvesters. And then it grew from there.
I mean, literally, we're talking about, when you say pick tomatoes, we're talking about a tomato picker.
Yes.
That you designed to go and pick tomatoes.
Yes, this machine will, the first machine we built would replace around 30 hand pickers and pick 100 tons a day. Now it's picking much more than that. It'll pick 100 tons an hour. It has an electronic sort that kicks out the green ones. It has a we put two sorters on one machine, and just replaces a lot of people and helps people or helps the farmer compete with overseas and with neighboring countries and so forth. So
I know you said, or I read somewhere, that you started off, you knew how to weld as growing up on a farm and everything, and is that kind of what led into this?
Well, I had a good friend who was a better welder than I was, and but I did a lot of welding, did a lot of retrofitting to the first machine, as he did as well, and always had sort of an interest in machine work, in metal work, welding, and that kind of thing. But for the most part, I liked the business end of it and liked being around people, and so he and I complement each other very well.
I'd like to ask you, I know you do the harvesting equipment, but you've branched out into several other areas. I know that tank trucks, spreaders. So how did you get into those businesses?
Through acquaintances and like having an eye for what the need was in the area or in the country. We started building tanks and spreaders in around the year 2000. And then we just graduated into the dump boxes here about a year ago, and we're doing a lot of exporting. We're doing to many different countries. Just sold 20 tanks to Egypt that we're shipping. And
so the trucks that are sitting over here, I know the white trucks, I think.
Yes, yep. We do a considerable amount of exporting. One of the neat things about the Pik Rite is a large percentage of over 90% of our product is purchased within the United States, and around 60% of our product is purchased within the state of Pennsylvania. So, it contributes a lot of jobs besides what we have here.
Tell me about the spreaders, the manure spreaders, I guess, for lack of the correct word.
Right.
I know that most of them I see are green, and they're pretty unusual. You don't see them around here. Well, how did you get into that business?
Around 15 years ago, John Deere contacted us, and they built this similar spreader, and they wanted to discontinue it because the numbers weren't high enough for them as far as quantities built. And so they asked us if we'd be interested in taking on the line. And so we worked with them, made some improvements, and took off from there.
So what colors you offer? John Deere green, International red,
New Holland,
New Holland blue,
and Case, or I'm sorry, Caterpillar
yellow.
Yep. Yes.
Well, I think it's really interesting that somebody that drives a green tractor doesn't want to pull a red spreader. So.
Well, they'll do it, but there's a little bit of pride involved with some of these farmers, both ways. So yeah, a lot of loyalty there.
Tell me about your truck bodies. I know you build the tank trucks and that, but the dump is a new area for you to get in.
It's a new venture that we started about a year ago. We're doing a lot for the excavation. We're also pushing hard to get into the municipalities, coming out working on a new unit. It's a push unit, so municipalities can spread salt without raising the dump. We're also building a leaf unit for municipalities and to collect leaves, debris, stuff along the road, trash and that kind of thing there. For safety and so forth, there's a lot of advantages. So.
Well, I understand you're also a township supervisor, so you have hands-on experience.
That's right.
In what's needed out there.
Yes, I get very involved with the local community and have a passion for it.
Well, we'd like to go inside and look around and see how some of these things are made, because I think that it's just great. And you mentioned about selling all over the world. If I'm not mistaken, I think that you've sold products in every continent except Antarctica.
I think you are correct.
Okay,
so,
well,
yes,
you probably should work on something to deal with ice and snow.
One of the things I would add as well is we've always taken the position that this company, the value of this company is the employees first, and then quality of the equipment will follow that. But we put a lot of value in our employees. We put a lot of value in relationships from the employees to the customer base, and we want to be a company that values our customers, that when they come here and leave, they want to come back because of their experience. And so that's one thing that's been very important to us.
Well, thank you. Thanks for inviting us, and we'd like to go in and look around.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've been joined by Kevin Baker. And Kevin, what's your title here? What do you do?
I'm Vice President of Engineering, Sales, and Service.
So the engineering, you have oversight over that?
I do. That's my background. That's my passion. I grew up on a farm, and I broke and rebuilt all things mechanical. So for me today, this is a good fit.
What's your educational background?
Bachelor degree from Penn State in mechanical engineering.
Well, you build some nice equipment here.
Thank
so,
you.
I mean, we're standing in front of part of a green thing here.
That's right. This is a new manure spreader that is taking shape. This is in the very early stages. It probably started in production in the assembly department this morning, and by the end of the day tomorrow, it will be finished and ready to ship to a customer.
These are unusual for what I grew up on a farm too, but I never saw one that had the vertical beaters or whatever you call them.
The evolution of manure spreading has changed quite a bit over the last many years. This technology was developed in Europe and has come to the U.S. This vertical beater does many things that the traditional spreader can. It's a farther width and distribution. It breaks up the clumps better. It just gives a better application for a more manageable manure. All of those finished products started here at Pik Rite in our engineering department. We've got engineers upstairs that are very involved in the design and development of all things new and all things existing. From all of their hard work, it comes out here to our fabrication department, which is where we are now.
And that's where we are now.
That's right. We bring in all of our raw steel materials, structural shapes and flat. We cut, we form, we roll. All of the fabrication processes are done here. We're in a transitional period right now. We've put a new addition on through the summer, so we're expanding into that. We've doubled our fabrication and welding footprint here at the plant, so we're able to better build our products and have more efficiency doing it.
All right, if we're going through to get at the end where we saw it,
Sure.
And we're in the fabrication now, where's the next place that the pieces would go?
Well, from fabrication, all the parts and pieces that we cut and bend are validated. We have a informal inspection process, and then they'll go to our welding department, and the welders will then take them and construct the next stage of weldments.
Can we go there?
Sure. In our welding department right now, we're building a carbon steel and a polished aluminum vacuum tank for a truck chassis. Both of these tanks started life here as a flat material. We've rolled them, we've welded them together. We will fully weld them and we will pressure test them out here in the welding department before we send them on to the next phase, which would be painting or final assembly. We want to make sure, without a doubt, there are no leaks in the tank before it gets to our assembly process.
So all of the forming of the metal, all the welding, everything was
That's correct.
done right here.
That's correct.
By local people.
By local people, very local people that take great pride in what they do here for us.
Where do you get your workers from? I mean, in a local bit, where are they trained?
Where are they trained? A lot of them were VOTEC students or have prior industry experience. The hiring process for us is probably more difficult than most because we look largely for the right personality and then try to train the skill set internally. So, you know, we take a lot of value in our culture and our vision, mission, and culture. So we want to make sure that when we're hiring people, we're bringing on board good quality.
How many employees do you have here now?
We're currently at around 70 employees full-time.
That's great.
Yeah.
Mark, how long have you worked here at Pik Rite?
Since 2005.
And what can you tell me about it? I mean, we've heard a lot about the culture here and, you know, a family and everybody pitches in to build a great product. How do you feel about that?
Well, I started in 2005. Started in shipping and receiving. Love the company. I've loved it here ever since I started. Yeah, the culture is unlike anything I've ever seen. We are family, and I know a lot of people say that, but it is real here.
Well, the equipment and the products you build are, I mean, in first class just to look at them, and I assume that that's part of what all of you are working towards.
Absolutely. Quality is one of the most important things we look at here. I think people really do take it to heart. You watch the guys in the shop, top to bottom, everybody is looking at quality.
Well, that's great, and I mean, you do production here. Is that your job? So you schedule?
So I oversee paint, assembly, quality, and service. Scheduling, personnel, a lot of personnel and scheduling.
I see why you're sitting in an office behind a computer. That's the only way you can manage that many jobs.
It is a lot to manage, but I love it. Got a great team. It's not me managing, it's a great team of people.
All right, we're in a paint area now, and I see this huge paint booth.
That's right. We were in our paint department, which is one of the newer portions of our building. With anything that we paint, we'll first sandblast it completely to give us the best adhesion quality possible. From the sandblast, we'll go into paint. The painters will do the prep work, any kind of body filling they may need to do, and then they'll prime and paint. Our new booth is capable of painting something 50 feet long, and we have the capability to heat that after it's painted to be able to cure the paint quicker. So we can go from a wet painted tank onto a truck chassis in matters of hours instead of waiting for paint to dry. It really helped with our efficiency.
You said this is new.
This is new to us about 2 years ago. Yep. We were painting with a smaller booth, everything, and now we have 2 booths that gives us a lot of flexibility.
Okay. And then after it's painted, then where do we go?
If it's going to be assembled as a finished whole good, we'll do it in our assembly department. If it's a parts order, it goes down to our parts department to be packaged and shipped.
Okay. And if we're going in, assuming it gets assembled here, where do we go?
We're going to go down to the assembly bay, and
okay.
Down there, from welding, the parts will all get hung on racks.
Like I see over here, and they're all painted.
They'll be blasted on the rack and they'll be painted on the rack. The welders hang them on the racks and the assemblers take it off the racks. That helped us cut a lot of inefficient time in the paint department from handling parts. We're able to do many steps with just 2 now. Now we're entering the assembly stage of our production, and we've got our assembly people are doing a pre-assembly on a hose tray that goes on a tank truck. These trays are where your lights would mount to make the truck visible and legal for operation on the road, but they also store the hoses that the pumper would use to clean out the drain or whatever he may be doing with it. So these particular trays are matched to the tank, which is matched to the truck, and we take a lot of pride in being able to produce.
Now, what we're putting together here, or what you're putting together here, is a truck body or a tank on a truck.
Correct.
But this is where you would also do I know on another part we looked at the manure spreader when we came in, the kind of the finished product. But if you were building a harvesting machine, would that would go through the same area here?
All of our finished goods take very much the same path. They all are started in fab, welding, paint, and then assembly. All of our products are diverse enough that it takes different team members that have a special focus on those jobs to be able to lead the team to do it. But like I said, the tanks are kind of a mainstay along with the spreaders. The harvesters are a little more seasonal. And when we start our harvester manufacturing, this area is overwhelmed with harvester parts and harvesters being built. Okay. Each harvester has about 13,000 individual pieces that go together, not including nuts and bolts and everything like that. So it's a big undertaking. There's a lot of assembly hours there.
I can certainly imagine that. All right, these are the truck chassis now, and then the tank is put on the truck chassis.
That's right. This is where all of our parts and pieces get married to the truck chassis if we're building a septic truck or if we're building a dump body. So we will get the chassis in from the chassis manufacturer and do all the prep work we need to be able to set our tank on it. These two red trucks in particular are going to the same customer, so they're going to have a very similar look to them when they're done here. We work with all truck manufacturers, and we have a large dealer network, so we don't actually buy and sell the truck. We allow the dealer to do that, and we just add our body as an upfitting process.
So the customer buys the truck directly from the dealer?
That's correct.
And then it's shipped here for finishing?
That's correct. Yep. Usually we'll work through a dealer network to supply the customer a finished truck.
Now, I know one of the things, I don't know whether you have any examples here, but I noticed that the quality of the paint jobs on the vehicles you work on,
Sure.
the lighting, a lot of chrome. In my opinion, you can pick out a Pik Rite tank truck out on the road just by looking at the outside of it.
Yeah, thank you. We take a lot of pride in our finished product. You know, the customer's buying a unit that it could be upwards of $250,000, and it needs to look like that. So we take a lot of focus on the paint and the final finish of what we're putting together. Everything that comes out of here is the highest quality paint and materials we can acquire to put it together to ensure the customer that is buying it, they have the best quality in their hands.
And their truck looks better than the next truck.
That's right, and that does help sell too.
It does.
We're one of the only in the industry that offers a 15-year warranty on our tanks too. So we will stand behind that tank for 15 years. You can buy it, you can invest in us, knowing that you've got someone to stand behind it.
We transitioned outside again with Elvin, and I wanted to make sure that we saw the Pik Rite logo and ask Elvin, why do you do that? What's the significance of putting that on the back of the truck like that? It's pretty noticeable.
Well, one of the ideas was if somebody's behind us, whether it's a competitor, whether somebody we're advertising to, that reflects off of headlights. It shows up good during the day, and we want to promote however we can. So as long as we're in front and leading, people have to look at us, and that's what our goal is to be leading the industry, to be spreading the news on who we are, and it's a good reminder for people that hey, you're following a Pik Rite tank, and look at the quality, look at what we're doing.
Well, I know you've convinced me. When I pull up behind a tank truck, I always look for that logo anymore.
Well, great.
I'd like to walk over here. I know that it's an old model, but you have a vegetable picker here, and maybe you explain it to the people as to what you do. And I know now it's not the season, you're not building them right now, but you can show us a little bit about how complicated these things are.
We typically build machines to start the production in early winter, early spring. For the summer, we ship all over to with, like we had mentioned, a lot of pepper harvesters in California, a lot of tomato harvesters in the Midwest. We're shipping pepper harvesters overseas. And then what we do is we have a lot of customers in Ontario, Canada as well, places like that, who will trade machines in the Midwest. They'll trade up from an old machine to a newer machine that has a lot higher capacity. What we do with a lot of those machines is we bring them in, we retrofit them, we paint them, we replace the all wearable parts that need replaced, and we warrant the machines for the customer, and then we'll send them back out. This machine, it was started out as a tomato harvester in Ontario. This machine is 20 years old. It's been through 20 seasons. Now, to some people that looks like it's pretty well been used, and it has. But what we'll do is this customer traded on a new machine. We'll bring this machine into our shop. We'll repaint it, we'll go through it, and then this machine will be used for peppers, for jalapeno peppers, bell peppers, and things like that. So what it transitions from is a tomato harvester into a pepper harvester that's affordable for a customer who doesn't necessarily want to buy a new machine. We have machines like this that we retrofitted, reconditioned, sent to Argentina, to Chile, to Portugal, many different countries.
I believe it, and I may be wrong about this, but somebody told me some numbers, like at Subway, the amount of peppers I think that are used by Subway that are picked by Pik Rite machines.
If you eat a jalapeno pepper, let's say, at Subway, you're almost definitely eating a pepper that came off of a Pik Rite harvester.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of that. We do a lot of peppers, not only in the United States, but all over the world. We're responsible for harvesting a lot of them, as well as cucumbers, tomatoes, many carrots, many different vegetables.
And this all started because you didn't want to pick tomatoes by hand.
Well, it all started because us kids were out there in the field doing all the labor. We had more incentive than a lot of people because we had to load them, we had to pick them along with our southern help, but we had more incentive than some people. We wanted to get out of some work.
Well, the complicated nature of this looks to me like you did a pretty good job.
Well, and you know, and I say that, you know, there's some truth to that. The real joy of what we're doing is providing jobs for the community. I'm the type of person who likes relationships, whether it's with customers, whether it's with our employees. And I like to sit down, I like to go out, to have a relationship with our employees, to value them, to not only have a place for them to come to work, but have a place for them to become better people, to work together as a team, to if there's a tough time for one employee, other employees are there for them. And you know, the family atmosphere is much more than just sitting around a table, but supporting each other. And that's my dream as a company. We want to grow the company based on those principles. And so it's more than just, it started out, our incentive was to get out of work, or not to get out of work, but to
make it easier.
It's turned into much more of a business where it's much more than about the money. It's more about the relationships, the people, and what we can add to the community.
Well, you've got a great business model, and it looks to me like you've been very successful.
Well, thank you. I would say, you know, Senator, that looking to you, to your team as help, it's been a great asset to have you as a person that is more than lip service, but you actually get involved. Your team helps us out with many different things, giving us contacts. We need government to help businesses, not regulate, and you've been a good example of that. I think we as a company are well capable of knowing how to treat our employees, how to be safe, how to add value. We don't need the government telling us how to do that. We need the government there for assistance and guidance. And I think a lot of times in this country the tables have turned, but you're a good example of what it is to be there to serve the community, to serve the business, and to help us become better.
No, I agree with that. I think that the people who are the experts and know how to do it are the business people out there. And I think that sometimes government just does not go out and listen to the people that know how to do it and work in the field or in the particular industry every day.
I agree. We take it upon ourselves to provide good health care, to have good retirement plans, to have good vacation packages. We want to go beyond what the government requires us to do. We're capable of doing that. We don't need the government telling us that. And so we appreciate your assistance as what I think it really should be.
I appreciate your comments, and I think that you've got a great team here and you build great products, and it's always fascinating to me to come here and visit. And being a motorhead and growing up on a farm, and I can weld too, so I should have thought of something like this.
Well, when you retire, if you're looking for another job, we'll put you out on the welding floor. But I thank you, and it's been an honor to be able to share a little bit of our story and what we do.
I'm Senator Gene Yaw. Thank you for joining us for this behind-the-scenes tour of Pik Rite. We look forward to seeing you the next time.